This video is for anyone who experiences anxiety or overthinking or just wants to access different parts of their mind. It's really simple, just a few ideas that you can take into nature with you next time you're outside. And it's really helpful for disrupting repetitive thought patterns and tuning into more of your energy field rather than having a concentration of your energy up in the prefrontal cortex of the mind where all your repeated patterns exist and can often run rampant. So it's just a few contemplations that are worth considering and see how they feel for you, and it might work or it might not. The first thing would be to basically go outside without any devices and notice the greenery first and foremost. So the color green is associated with the heart chakra, and as you kind of run your eyes across the landscape and take in the greenery or just the colors in general basically and soften the temples, you are relieving all that tension that goes on in the prefrontal cortex, and you're accessing different folds of the mind, and that can help you drop into your heart and into your body and start to attune your energetic field. So just scanning the landscape, noticing the different shades of green, noticing the way that the light kind of goes through some leaves, and softening the mind from a thinking state into an observational state, but a non-judgment state, can really help just to regulate your brainwaves from those high beta waves, which is like stress and overthinking, to more of an alpha wave, which is like being present in the moment. So noticing the different species of plants as well, just the different shapes of all the different plants and how they coexist amongst each other without trying to be anything that they are not, can really be helpful when it comes to things like comparison or competitiveness. So just noticing how they kind of all coexist in the same environment and that there's room for all of them basically. Noticing the movement of the leaves. If there's a breeze, noticing how there are lulls and then there are periods of intense movement. So just making that parallel to your life, noticing that there are times when it's completely still and that's useful, and also that there are times when there's movement and that's also part of the process. Calibrating to any bird calls, like really listening to the pitch and the tones and letting that sound flow through you can really help you like adjust out of one state of being into another. Any kind of natural elements like cicadas or just the sounds of dogs barking, anything natural, just like noticing those sounds and like feeling what happens in your body as those sounds occur, and just letting again your mind soften to the different levels that are occurring can really help just access those different parts of the mind that might not get accessed when we're just thinking of the same thing all the time and the same patterns and the same processes all the time. So it really doesn't take long, but like 5-10 minutes outside doing a few of these things can really open up these different channels in the body and in the mind, and bring in fresh ideas and inspiration. Notice the way that the plants kind of lean into the sunlight, so they're basically absorbing energy and using that, storing that through photosynthesis for their growth for later. So when you absorb sunlight onto the body and onto your skin for a short amount of time, like a considered amount of time, nothing excess, your body will say when it's had enough. You're basically storing light codes and information for later on in the same way that the plants do. So just letting your body experience that warmth and feeling it radiate through the body can be really healing and nutritious for you. Also noticing how plants shed their leaves, and that's akin to us letting go of our beliefs and layers of shame and old thoughts that don't serve us and past experiences that we don't need to keep repeating. It's okay to let them go and let them return to the earth, and you can practice that by consciously letting those release through your feet into the ground and giving thanks if you need to, but just letting it go and giving the earth thanks for taking them and transmuting them, and they'll become something else. So when you do that, you actually give the new life that's emerging on the tree more nutrients because it's not going into that old stuff, that old energy. Also noticing how the different plants in the garden or in the landscape, some are more established than others, and understanding that it took many cycles of the sun around the earth, or the earth around the sun rather, to get to that state. So if you're anxious about short timelines or being somewhere by a certain time, just realizing that everything in nature has its time and you have your own time too, and the less you kind of are overthinking and trying to rush something that isn't ready or just needs a bit more time to gather its strength from inside, then you can kind of give yourself a bit of grace, and when you don't have that resistance, then you have the new ideas and the new breakthroughs and these kinds of developments in more of a natural state. Also noticing how new life can emerge from nowhere. Like you could have a green bush one day and then the next day it's got buds that you never expected to occur, and then a week later there are these beautiful flowers on it. So this is the same for you. Just realizing that there is a time for everything, and as well that nature can surprise you and you're a natural being, so things can change quite quickly without having any clue that that is something that could occur. Also considering how the conditions that the plants are in will determine their development. So if there's too much sun, they might burn. That's like if there's too much energy, too much input of energy, you can burn out, or too much output, you can burn out. So, periods of time in the shade and the stillness is really helpful as well. So just honoring the fact that everything is working in a cycle. And the conditions that you're in determine your development. So it might mean making a few adjustments, like moving a pot to a different part of the garden, moving you to a different space in time or in your environment can alter your development and your growth. So I'll leave this here, and hopefully there's some use in this for you for next time you're outside, and I'm sure you'll have your own kinds of epiphanies, because these experiences are unique and they'll tell us each something very individual. So I hope this video finds you well, and thanks for listening.